Hello everybody, I'm Chuck Gibson. This is Loveland Beacon Talks. And it is my privilege today, we have a special guest, artist Kate Albert. You know, I always want to say Kate Jackson, but Kate Albert, a local area artist. You know, it's the TV person, right? But anyway, Kate is with me today. Thank you so much for joining me here on Loveland Beacon Talks. We're going to focus first. You got a ton of artwork to talk about. We're going to focus first on the most recent piece that was dedicated as part of the, and here we go, the semi-quincentennial celebration that's coming up here in Milford, and your mural of the, what do you call it, the historical Milford mural. But anyway, Kate, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, and it's the Milford, say it again.
Historic Milford.
Mural.
Yes.
Perfect. And so here we are. It is the snow day, Tuesday, December 2nd. Thankfully, that wasn't the day of the dedication. You guys had a nice day, I think.
That was a very real concern. It was very cold that day. We had many delays on this project, from getting final approval from the city on the location to injuring my hand for 2 months in the middle of the summer. And I couldn't paint, so yeah, the date got pushed back from the original dedication date was aimed at October 1st, and here we dedicated it on November 20th.
Right.
So we
wow,
just
and you know what? And I was thinking November 20th. It turned out to be a reasonably nice day, but it was cold.
But it was cold. I had hand warmers.
Well, at least you weren't at the wall painting a mural on the wall that day or something like that.
No,
but,
fortunately.
Well, share, I mean, I think for the listeners who are hearing this, we'll get into a lot of background about what you do, because you've done multiple pieces that are similar to this, different cityscapes or whatever you want to call it. But so the historic Milford mural. Tell me about that and how did you become the artist for that?
For this project?
Yeah, for this project.
So it began back in January or February of last year, 2024. Wow. I was actually out to dinner with my husband, and Andrea Brady is there, and I don't even know it, but I walk past her and she sticks an arm out and she says, "Hey, I've got a project you might enjoy." And I thought, wow, okay, well, I'm going to go have dinner and then we'll get coffee. And we get coffee a couple days later, and she says there's this anniversary coming up for our country, America 250, and there's federal grant money out there that we're looking to catch, and we need to get some concepts together for Milford and Miami Township. And so I say, okay, so we were just kind of off and running from there. And long story short, we did not get the federal grant money. There were a lot of projects, a lot of counties, and yeah.
I didn't realize that was part of the story.
Well, here's the problem. Each one of these paintings takes me months,
right,
to research, from reading to photography, and to even just to getting the final drawing before the painting even starts. So all in all, a piece usually takes me upwards of a year or a year and a half to do just one piece, and so the actual research phase and getting the composition right can take 8 months to do. So I learned about this project like February 1st, and we had to have, in like 4 weeks, I had to have 2 concepts together. And there wasn't enough time for me to do all the research on just the painting, let alone there were other things that I needed to figure out. I needed to figure out, where are we going to paint this? What wall are we going to paint it on? How do we even do that? Well, right. I'm not by trade a mural artist, so I had to meet with other artists that have been through this. Where do you get your supplies? What kind of brushes do you need? Scaffolding. All this whole myriad of problems to solve, and it was all put on me because nobody else knew what they were doing. So I was like, okay, well, there's really a learning curve here. But so all in all, we did not get approved for that because I was spending so much time helping to get bids together for how much money we would need for the project that there wasn't even enough time to come up with a solid concept.
Wow.
So I had very loose renderings to submit, and what came back was, oh, these aren't historic enough. So, okay, fine. But then the county decides, hey, we're going to do this anyway. It's Clermont County Conventions and Visitors Bureau still wanted to be a part of this, big celebration. And, their job is to, have people wanting to visit Clermont County, and what can we do to make ourselves more appealing beyond our borders. And they did an excellent job with that. We are here in Milford just one of over a dozen murals to be installed and are already installed around Clermont County for America 250.
Wow, so those like dozen
Yeah.
overall, those are all Clermont County.
They're all Clermont County.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batavia, then there's going to be one in Owensville, Loveland,
I
Union
think
Township.
Goshen did one.
Goshen did one. Yeah.
That's been installed already, because I saw that there was a dedication
Mm-hmm.
ceremony for that too.
Yeah.
So these are all tied
Williamsburg.
in with.
Yeah, so they're all tied in with America 250, and it'll be really interesting to see what other projects creep up around the country as we get closer to the new year.
Well, we're going to touch on one
Yeah.
before we're done here, because we've talked about another one right nearby.
Yeah.
Adjacent community. We'll get
Yeah.
to that. But I want you to go in a little bit deeper on. So obviously you came up with a concept, and I never even thought of it. I thought, well, gosh, Kate, when I saw the final work, I thought, man, she knows a lot about the history of Milford. Well, that was research.
You want to know my secret?
If you're willing to share it, tell our listeners what's the secret.
I will broadcast it. Yeah. My secret is Ed Brady with Marvelous Milford. Ed knows so much about not only Milford, but Miami Township and around, east side of Cincinnati, maybe even beyond. He's just a real smart guy. And he was the reason I was able to get all these historical elements together so quickly. So if it were just me doing the research, oh my gosh. I'd
still be working on it.
I'd still be working on it and making people angry at how long it's taking me to do it. So, yeah, so he...
Well, so a huge shout out to Ed Brady.
Huge shout out to Ed Brady.
His knowledge of historic Milford, at
yes.
least.
And Andrea, too, because she was my project manager, and she helped keep me on track. She helped me kind of handle the, I guess, I don't want to say the politics of it all, but just I'm not great at responding quickly to emails and in depth, and I'd be like, Andrea, can you handle this? And I'd send it off to her.
You just respond really fast to the accidental text messages that were meant for we won't get, no, never mind.
Yeah.
That was Chuck's fault, folks. Don't pay attention to that. Side notes come out.
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, thank you for that quick response at the time, because we got the other part of that taken care of. Well, so anyway, so the concepts, we give credit to Ed Brady.
Yeah.
But how, so what are some of those concepts that you want to share the story behind those, if you're up to it?
So the drawing, there wasn't a set number of historical elements that it needed to have, but in order for it to tie in with our country's history, we wanted to show enough local history. So basically what I did was I showed Ed the perspective that I was set on, and that happens, by the way, by flying my drone. I have a drone that I fly up, and basically I see where the best angle is and then shoot it from different angles. I chose the view from the Little Miami Brewing Company down here on the river.
Right.
Had the best vantage point for portraying not just what we currently look like here, but also how to fit in the historical elements that either are still here or were here at one time. So and most of my paintings are just kind of FYI, a combination of historical and current elements as well as events happening simultaneously. So it's kind of like taking a living timeline and putting it all together into one piece. So not like taking a photograph at all. It's like taking...
No, not when you're stretching history across
No,
it.
you're stretching history. And but yeah, so Ed helped me figure out, obviously Milford comes from the mills, that were along the river.
Ford in the river?
Yeah, and actually Milford was named for the place where people would cross over in the river. That part there by, I think it's just a little bit upstream from where the bridge is where people would ford the river in the mill district of Milford. So
perfect.
That's how it got its name. Yeah.
That's how we got a little history lesson there.
Yeah.
For sure. And the naming of Milford.
Yeah, Milford.
The Milford is how we got to Milford.
Yes.
Because we all say Milford.
We all say Milford, but it's Milford, but
Milford's good.
Milford's good.
Yeah, I don't want to start anybody.
It's like Marymont and Mariemont. We could go around the town.
Gracious.
Yeah.
The history all around the 7 hills of Cincinnati. We get crazy then.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Which I think you've painted most of them, right?
I think we're getting there. I haven't really made my way quite around the west side of town. I'm still chipping away over here.
Well, if you're like me, and nothing against any West Siders that happen to be listening to this, but if you go to the West Side, you just get lost over there. I don't know where.
If I didn't have GPS, I would still be there.
Today's technology gets me unlost faster than I used to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I am not a West Sider. I get over there and I don't have any idea where I am.
Yeah.
But that's a different story. But so what are some of the historical elements specifically in this historic Milford mural? Maybe like the best question, Kate, for you is what really stood out for you as you started to put it together?
What really stood out to me...
People can't see this. She's cheating right now.
I'm cheating right now. I'm looking up my...
He's using technology to remind
I'm looking
her.
up the painting because I...
No, wait a minute.
Oh, it's right there. That's right. He has a print of it. Yeah, right here. So the...
Well, here you can...
Actually, that's a better view.
Yeah,
that's a better view. So a lot of these buildings, even right up front here, the Longstone buildings here, a lot of people don't know this, but that one Mill Street building used to be kind of a hub for importing and exporting whiskey.
And so for the listeners, when they go to the mural, the wall, what we're talking about right now is if you're standing in front of it, on like the lower right side, and as you said, the front part on the right side. Yeah. That building, it almost looks like it's stone.
It is.
It is
stone.
It is stone.
That's why they call those the Longstone buildings.
Okay, yeah.
And actually, there will be a sign, hopefully here soon. There's something got jumbled up in the works, but there will be a legend with a QR code, and you'll be able to actually scan that and see listed the items that are on here.
For people who aren't blessed like I am, because my wife worked for the city of Milford, retired. When we stood in front of the mural, she's telling me everything.
She was telling you.
So for the people that don't have that
just
guide,
have her stand out there until they put the sign up.
That's going to happen. No. Anyway, but for people that don't have that, working knowledge themselves or somebody that can be their guide, that's great. There's going to be a QR code.
There'll be a QR code, and
really cool.
Another fun thing besides the listed items, there are things that aren't listed for you to find. So there are fun. I am a troublemaker. I'm just. They're the Easter eggs we
way up there.
Yeah. There's buzzards flying above the big Milford Water Tower.
Well, we can't give it all away.
No.
Some people got to figure it out.
Yeah, there's plenty.
But I'll say, look along the horizon, and you'll find some things that you wouldn't just don't see if you just take a quick. Take your time. I will say this because we've been down there. I wasn't able to make it to the dedication, which is why we're talking here on December 2nd. But Sue and I went over and spent some time with it on a really nice, warm, sunny day, just to rub it in.
Aren't you lucky?
But I'm telling the listeners, take your time and just really look at, because the more you look at it, the more you see little things that are really. Kate, your detail blows me away. It's just outstanding. I mean, it's just really the coolest thing. I don't want to give away, but, where the kayaks are, and somebody on a bicycle.
Whose kayaks are?
I don't know. Somebody maybe.
Somebody very close to me.
Yeah. Well, now I know what the where the kayak images came from. Because again, now it's not as magnificent a work as it was, because I thought you just did that out of your head. But I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely had some references there.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is out of my head. You'd be surprised. I mean, except for the buildings, most of the landscaping, once I get a feel for how the landscape flows, which is just part of integrating everything in my brain, a lot of it I just do out of my head. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Well, you know what? So you beat me to a question, because we were going to get to a little bit of background on Kate. So 20 years is the answer. How long have you been doing
20
this?
years. 20 years.
What year is this?
Like almost to the month. We're in December now. November of 2005 was the first show that I had one of my Cincinnati paintings in, and it was of Cincinnati.
Right.
That's my very first piece. And I didn't have a whole lot of little things hidden in there yet. That didn't come along until the next piece.
Until later,
Yes.
So what inspired you to get into this? I mean, your works are very unique as far as I'm concerned. I don't know that you may know that other people do similar things.
I don't know anybody that does anything like this, which is why I do it.
It's unique. It's really, I think it's great. And and again for the listeners, we have the Loveland piece.
Yeah.
And again, we're still going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I can't say anything about, the Milford piece yet, but, that's maybe down the road. Anyway, we'll leave it at that for now. But, like you said, so the Cincinnati piece was the first one.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Very first one,
November
20 years
of 05, I guess. Wow.
Yeah.
So the answer to what inspired you to do this type of work?
So the answer to what inspired this is when I decided to do that painting before it was ever released, I had it sounds cheesy and cliche to say a vision, but something was telling me that the best way to make a life as an artist for myself was to paint what I love. Well, actually at this point I didn't know that much about Cincinnati, but I love people. So I really wanted to paint something that I thought everybody could relate to. And that's when I decided to do Cincinnati. And I told myself, I said, this is how I'm going to make my career. And I was right. I've been doing this for 20 years. I still sell that painting, even though I kind of chuckle because some of the buildings aren't perfectly straight. And it's definitely not as detailed as what I do now. But it was the welcome mat to my career. Was doing that Cincinnati piece, and people, and pleasing them, and making sport out of seeing how much detail I can pack into a piece that might make them happy, is why I keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, that's pretty cool. I like that, making sport out of how much you can pack into it.
Yeah.
Well, Cincinnati has served you well, because you've done the old Union Terminal. Mm-hmm.
So many landmarks.
I'm drawing a blank on some of them.
The observatory, Kern
Conservatory,
Conservatory, Mount Adams just has a slew of them. It's just, I could paint Mount Adams forever. You've got the art museum, you've got, Ida Street Bridge, you've got all these cool places, the museum.
Yeah, the church.
Yeah. Oh, Immaculata. My husband makes fun of me because of how many times I've painted Immaculata. Every painting I do, just as a joke, he says, "Where are you going to put Immaculata Church?" Way up in the
Well, no, wait a minute. Let's see. We got to figure this out. On the
Yeah.
Milford, it'd be way over here.
Yeah,
So,
it is in a pretty funny. It is in like four or five of my paintings though. But I like that connectivity.
Well, it's a
from one
Cincinnati
painting.
icon. For
It
sure.
is.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
It's high up on the hill. You see it right when you come over the river into downtown Cincinnati. It's a beautiful church.
Well, and I was, and I'll use one. I was blessed to have worked in Mount Adams during my, career in media with, that radio group that was in Mount Adams for a long time.
Yeah.
I'll not name them.
Well-
But anyway, we basically parked in the Immaculata parking lot,
Yeah.
so more or less.
Well-
So I saw it every day.
My
But,
dad grew up in Mount Adams and
Yeah.
used to serve at that church, so there is
Yeah.
a nostalgic component.
That's a tie-in for sure. Well, then the other thing, and the observatory, all that. Another piece that I happen to have, which thank you so much, is a wonderful piece, the Great American Ballpark.
Oh yeah.
The 150 years of baseball piece,
Mm-hmm.
which was, these are just some classic things.
Oh
that,
yeah. Hitting all the landmarks and trying to do some of the the familiar venues around the city, just to mix it up every once in a while. But
What do you hear? Because I heard you, in terms of the inspiration and trying to figure out your career. It's
Yeah.
like you wanted to do something for the people.
Yeah.
So how wonderful it is for you to hear back from them. I'm assuming you do. Somebody will say, I know I've said it, like with that Great American Ballpark piece. It's just like that, pun intended, you hit a home run with this guy, because it's like baseball's my thing. And so
Yeah.
there it is.
Oh, I know. I know what you're
you
thinking.
painted that for the people,
Right.
people anyway.
Well-
so how often do you get that kind of feedback or?
a lot. And now since this mural has gone up, it has been so frequent that it's almost overwhelming.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
in a great way, because it just every time I get that kind of feedback, you're not feeding my ego, you're feeding my motivation
Yeah.
to keep doing this, because that's what I want to do. I like making people happy. When I was 5 years old, if I got, an allowance, if I had a quarter, I went and spent it on candy bars for my siblings, It was
Oh.
like, those are the things that make me happy.
Man, I wish I was your little brother. My sister was not buying me candy bars, just for the record.
Yeah, but
I'm not complaining. I did fine.
Yeah,
I got plenty of candy, but
yeah. But oh gosh, well, don't think I didn't eat it. I had a mouthful of cavities.
Well, good. So the truth comes out. It wasn't all just.
No,
of
no.
course, as we record this, it happens to be Giving Tuesday.
Yeah,
So
that's
just a
right.
side note, as we record this, by the time you're listening, listeners, this won't be Giving Tuesday anymore. So
Right.
we won't encourage you to. We'll encourage you to give, but not for Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to throw this one out there because I keep teasing you and the listeners that we have something else we want to talk about. And I said, my wife and I already have the Loveland piece, which would be a great mural. Am I right?
You are 100%
Yeah.
correct.
However, that is not totally in the works as a mural for Loveland yet.
No,
as part
it's
of the
not. They
celebration.
have another mural that they're doing, and I hadn't even thought about that because I was so busy with,
Yeah.
what I had going on. But seeing that they have their 150th anniversary coming up next year, the work is done.
Yeah.
So that's just something that I'd like to approach the city about. If they're willing to squeeze one more in there, it's a good format for it.
We're going to make sure that some Loveland officials hear this podcast, and maybe we're planting the seed.
That would be great.
Because as you said, that work is done, and I'm quite certain that some of the officials of Loveland have seen it, or maybe even own one of those prints. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll have to
yeah.
ask.
It's been a while. I painted that back in 2020.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, I meet so many people at shows that I
Yeah.
can't keep keep up with everybody that's bought one, but I definitely know that Mark Bersani
Mark's got one.
at Loveland Canoe and Kayak has one because he bought one.
Well, I'm going
opening event.
I'm going to text Mark, and maybe he and I will team up and help, because it's certainly a great piece, Kate.
Thanks.
And
it took 18 months to paint.
And I can't take credit for saying this. That would be a great idea. Kate has brought this to my attention before that, would like to see that happen. So I think it would be great for Loveland if,
Yeah, it's
to
Loveland
make it
pride.
part of their celebration.
The Frogman's in there.
Oh, well.
You've got people walking
I'm not a
on Lover's
frogman
Lane.
guy, but people
Yeah.
love that.
Oh,
And
I
again,
mean,
so that's a people thing.
yeah. It's got the stage company right up front and center.
Definitely.
It's got
That is Pat Furterer and the Loveland Stage Company. That's an iconic. They're both icons.
Yeah.
I mean, Pat Furterer Way is the name of the street there now.
right.
In honor of her and what she did, and with that whole Loveland Stage Company. So yeah, it's in the painting. It's part
in
of the
there.
history. It's a great history.
Yeah.
Whatever, I can't think of, what was it, the Christ Theater is what it was originally, that building that the
Oh,
Loveland
really?
Stage
Okay.
Company's in. It's up there on that stone. I think it's CRIST. I could be wrong about that. I am not a Loveland historian, so please listen.
I think we have a
You can
building
call
down
me
here
and
that
correct
has
me.
that on
Yeah.
it somewhere down here.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
Probably
on
a
one of
name.
our original building fronts.
Well, so, get a little plug in here. So you have some hours at the, am I going to get it right, Painted River Studio
Yeah, Painted River Art Studio. Yeah, we are.
in beautiful downtown historic Milford.
Yes.
So you can come and see Kate here at the Painted River Studio. When can they find you here? Usually?
We're here Tuesday, Wednesday, 11 to 4, and then Thursday through Saturday, 11 to 5, and by appointment.
And then the other thing, you've got a website, yes?
I've got a website. It's just Kate Albert Art. Don't forget the art.
Kate Albert Art, one word, right?
All one word. .com.
.com.
Yep.
So you can look at some of her works. But then the final question is, we're running into the last couple minutes, Kate. So what's next? What are you working on now, if anything? I mean, I know
my
you're
gosh.
working on things, but do you have like a particular project right now that you're in the
There's
middle of?
there's always things just bubbling in the back of my head, like it just doesn't ever stop. But I'd really love to do a piece for Terrace Park, and that I think that would complete my east side of town journey, because I've done Newtown, Marymount,
Well,
Loveland.
yeah, you know what? And I saw.
Yeah.
I was going to say pieces you've done.
Anderson.
Newtown.
Yeah.
You have done Anderson.
I would like to do
You haven't done.
Anderson.
I was going to ask
Yeah.
you about that because before I was a Lovelander, I was an Andersonian. Mm-hmm. So those
Yeah.
are the two for me. But so Newtown, Marymount,
Yeah,
Milford.
and there's feelers out in Lebanon. I believe that they have an anniversary coming up in, I think it's 2027. I had been talking to, oh gosh, I'm gonna botch his name. Mike, the executive director of the Harmon Museum up in Lebanon, about doing a piece and maybe doing something cooperatively with the city of Lebanon for their anniversary.
Well, we skipped over this, and I want to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for the listeners, the historic Milford Mural
Yes.
is located, so they can go look at it and take their time to look at it.
Yes,
Where
it is.
Where is it?
It is located at 5 Points Landing Park, right close to City Hall, and you can walk right up to it. Parking is fairly accessible there on all sides of the park. And like I said, there should be a QR code and a legend here shortly.
Okay.
In the meantime, if you're curious about it, you can just reach out to me.
Well, walk down the street here to
You can-
Painted
yeah,
River.
walk down
and
here.
Say, and you'll have a print here somewhere. That,
Oh, I've got prints ready to go.
They
Yeah.
can buy a print, or they can say, "Hey, show me what's what," because I was looking at the mural.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other thing is, so you did not go and paint it on the wall. Tell me real quick.
Yeah,
how
real
did
quick.
that? Because it's a really interesting
Yeah.
piece the way
So
it's installed.
just real quickly, basically, we couldn't settle on. We kept going back and forth between that location and the wall down here at the public parking next to Harvest Market, and this city is doing things in phases at the park and along Main Street, And there was too big of a risk that if we painted this on a wall, that it was going to be painted over or built over or modified in some way. And I said, well, Andrea, what if we just installed it as an art piece? You know, let's find a local printer and figure out how to have it installed on panels. And she said, that's a great idea. And I said, I know, they don't come along often, but here we are. And so with that particular space...
The moon was blue. It was once in a blue moon idea.
It was. And you know, it's going to change the way that I do work now, from now on, because I've always wanted to do murals, but couldn't go through the heartbreak of that, and also weather is unpredictable. There were so many factors that made this such an easy choice. The mural could get damaged or dirty or, you know, something. In the meantime, we have depend on weather conditions with the humidity and rain and heat and cold, and there were just too many variables, and we just decided this was the best option. And so we went with a local graphics place, Digimax Graphics and JKV Engineering. I can't recommend them highly enough. They do billboards to art installations now.
So now it's digitized.
It's digitized, which I do myself. Okay. My husband and I have real nice camera equipment, and we shoot it in sections to get a high resolution image, and then we send the digital artwork off to Digimax.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so the surface that it's on, which is ultimately...
It's vinyl. It's a 3M vinyl, basically a giant sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that is installed on that wall.
Yes.
If they had to, if construction changes down the road, they could actually remove it and put it
on
a new place.
It was actually, so I actually designed the piece to be short enough that if they ever need to move it to another side of that building, they can easily do so.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of thought.
Well, Kate, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story about historic Milford. We learned some things. I did anyway. I could go home and ask Sue. She'll be able to tell me yep or no or whatever.
Yeah.
But listen, thank you so much for joining us here on Loveland Beacon Talks. It was a pleasure having you.
My pleasure. Anytime.
So, well, for Kate Albert and for Loveland Beacon Talks, I'm Chuck Gibson. Thank you for listening.